All right. So we've made the first video in which I introduced myself and also the reason for creating this channel. And I just recorded that 5 minutes ago. And I thought that it's also nice to immediately do my first content video. And I thought that it would be interesting to start with something that I'm currently spending a lot of time and energy and effort in doing. And it's about emotional healing, the healing of past trauma, the healing of your mind, and certain mental patterns, the healing of the body and the nervous system, which all connects to emotional healing. Now, what where to start? So, when we're younger and grow up w with a family in our own unique environment, we have all these different types of experiences, and some of these experiences are positive and they're exciting and nice, like you're hanging out with your friends or family, or you're going on a vacation, or you're trying a hobby for the first time and you really enjoy it. For me, for example, playing football, it was a very positive experience. But you also have these uh, painful experiences, have experiences that um, are painful and uh, can sometimes just be considered traumatic. For example, divorce, from parents. My parents are divorced, or if I think about my other experiences, stuttering, right? That was also for me a painful experience, and multiple painful e- experiences. And often when we encounter these experiences, we don't really process the emotions that we feel because we don't feel comfortable. And I mean, those emotions, feeling our emotions is also not something that we really learn in school or from our parents. It's not a skill set that I learned, from um, my parents. And because the feelings, they feel uncomfortable and scary and painful. Sadness, anger, fear, these are uncomfortable emotions. We react to it in a counterproductive way. And so instead of expressing them, speaking them to your family, or feeling them, guiding yourself through feeling them and releasing them, we keep them inside our system, inside our energies, inside our body, inside the cells, inside our nervous system, and they stay there. They stay a part of us until the energy, the emotions are released again and processed. And what I've been working on with myself is to feel more. This past year has really been about feeling, about um, looking at emotions that are within me, looking at emotions that come up in the moment, and feeling them all the way through. And so, what's interesting is that even though these emotions were unprocessed and are somewhere, I mean, inside our system, um, and in order to function properly and and do all of our day to day, we push them down beneath the surface where they're seemingly gone, but they're still somewhere hidden within us and affecting us. And then what starts to happen is that you come across these uh, new experiences in life, and some of these experiences, they can feel very similar to those experiences that felt very painful in the past. And what starts to happen is that these old emotions, they start to be triggered and they start to be sort of poked, right? And they start to awaken again, and sometimes a jolt up and come to the surface, right? So, for example, for me, um, a trigger experience could be taking a phone call. Even though it's a lot easier for me to take a phone call now, uh, my body still reacts sort of fearful because it's part of that. Uh, um, uh, 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 my body still hasn't fully healed from the stuttering experience and is partly still in that space where making a phone call is difficult. And what if I stutter? What if it doesn't come out right? What if the other person laughs? And so there's this same feeling that comes up. Or another feeling uh, could be, let's see, yeah. So um, is that now, for example, when something doesn't go the way that I intend to. So let's say I'm doing a workshop, right? And I felt a bit unfocused, or I wasn't really expressing myself, clearly. The thoughts weren't forming right into something that I felt correct, or that really hit the point. And now not so much, but uh, a few years back, I used to get very angry at myself, at the fact that I didn't do it well, that I failed, and I felt like things were going wrong as a result of that. Even though the workshop could have still been a very positive experience, and this was only a small part of it. And the anger, it wasn't really um, uh, even though I was angry in that moment, in that new experience, the anger sometimes felt so intense that it couldn't have been, from that moment, because it was a tiny moment. And so what I learned through exploring myself and my feelings is that when I was younger and stuttering, and things weren't going right, that I felt very angry towards myself, and that I was having this experience, and that I wasn't, able to share what I wanted to share. If you want to say something, but I can't, and it's you that should be speaking normally. It's logical that you become angry at yourself, and so there was this, anger within me towards myself and these situations that was triggered inside this new experience. And those trigger experiences o- obviously feel difficult, but they are really blessings, because they show you, okay, and wait a minute, there is uh, something within me that I'm not looking at or aware at, but that beyond my control is now coming to the surface. In the beginning, what I started doing was full on reject the feeling, and uh, I thought I could work my way through it with a positive thinking, and using my mindset, and uh, without really feeling through the feeling, and the feeling just wants a compassion and presence. That's how you heal feelings, feeling them all the way through. But all I wanted to do was get away from the feeling as quick as possible, and back to performing and doing things in the way that I wanted to, which obviously didn't work, and made things a lot worse. Because I get more angry at the fact that I was feeling these things and I couldn't get rid of them. And then the next thing, it started to happen again, and yeah, it became a difficult experience. And the more I started to fight against the feelings, the more new feelings I started to create that were negative. And so um, it became this vicious cycle of triggering experiences, and then becoming more angry, more triggers, etc., etc. What for me gave a liberation in part, and I don't say that lightly, was that at a certain point I started learning more about uh, how to heal these emotions, and how to heal the body that is inside this stress, fight or flight responses from the past. And one of the tools that works really well for me is to allow feelings to happen. So, for example, one thing that or one way that I use that is whatever feelings are coming forward for me now, whether that's it's anger, that's sadness, that's judgment, that's um, you know rage, or something else, whatever it is, I allow it to be there. I allow it to move through me. I also speak uh, to the feeling. I picture the feeling as if it's like a person, a part of me, inside of me, that you know I was hidden somewhere, and just wants the compassion and kindness and presence, and they just want attention. And I'm giving that part of me that attention, that presence, that the love that it didn't feel from that younger me. And what I found is that this completely changes uh, the uh, the experience, and has a completely changed my life experience. And for example, now I experience that quite quickly. I can to work through emotions, instead of keeping them in and fighting them. I just allow them. I speak to them. I give them a kindness and the compassion, and then I mentally let them go. Um, and the emotion, disappears in a way that uh, is healthy, because uh, after I use these techniques, these tools, I feel better again. I continue with what I'm doing. I'm a creative again. Creative thoughts tend to not flow when you're angry, or when there's an emotion. And when I use these techniques, suddenly there is a creativity again, and so that also signals me that these things are working. So what it's really about is acknowledging that there is an emotion, and understanding that, okay, I'm feeling this emotion, but it's probably not something that is really about now, even though it's being triggered. I'm not, that angry that things are going wrong. And then teaching yourself that this is an opportunity to get closer, to that feeling from the past. And these emotions, they are layered, right? So what I experience personally is that there's maybe a many layers of anger that I feel. But then so I will release or the work through, one layer, and then perhaps a week later, or even the next day, or a month later, there is I have another layer of anger, or and then sometimes it turns into a different emotions, into sadness, right? So I also find that the emotions, they transition, right? So the more I work through the anger, for example, I felt about stuttering, the more it turns into sadness, which is behind the anger, and there's always sadness behind anger. The more I work through these emotions, the easier life starts to become. I cannot stress this enough. One thing that has helped me, you know, probably more than any other tool in my life is learning how to feel my emotions and allowing myself to feel whatever it is, how they feel, without the judgment, shame, or guilt, but coaching myself that it's okay to have these emotions. And um, some positives that I notice is that I feel better, I feel happier. My mind is thinking more positively. Um, my body feels more relaxed. I'm more open to people. I'm more creative in work, in solving problems. I see uh, more opportunities than the challenges. It's like, there's like an extra eggshell around me that is being broken down, and the more I break that shell down, the more the real me comes forward. But we all have this, a real, authentic us that's deep inside our core. And it's filled up with love, a natural a confidence, a creativity, um, connectedness with yourself, with others. And this the core is very much fearless, and it's just that, around this core, through all these experiences and the conditioning, and we have this layer of a traumatic or a painful experiences which block us, from having access again to that core. But the more we feel and let go and work through those emotions, the more, this starts to come forward and blossom and start to affect every single experience that you're having in your life, um, which is quite fantastic. Maybe also to conclude, what has also really helped me to work through these emotions and to not to get lost in them is to see them as these things that do not um, belong to the a truth of who I am. And the a truth of who I am is this loving, fearless person, and that's kind and is not angry. It's not sad. That's not our natural state. It's just that I learned these emotions, through those experiences. And so I always keep that in mind that the emotion, although it feels real, it's not a, a part of the essence of me. And so how does this help me? This helps me feel through an emotion while not losing myself in the emotion. And I'm sort of seeing the anger or the sadness or the fear as real. And what happens when you start to get lost in the emotion, you start to believe it as a reality, and you start to recreate it, and it starts to stay there, right? But you really have to train yourself to even though you feel it, and sometimes in every fiber of your being, uh, it's it's just a story. It's just uh, a story that was created, but that's not part of the truth of who you are. And so that really helps me go through these painful emotions, and to keep telling myself, okay, you're allowed to feel this, but to ultimately always return to that underlying truth, that I am not that fear or that anger or that sadness. And the more I do that, also the less, uh, um, those negative emotions start to uh, linger, and I'm not recreating sort of new maybe emotions through thinking those thoughts. So it allows me to process at those painful emotions without adding new ones and making it more difficult for me to uh, to do life, to be a human. So maybe to conclude, if you wish to feel better, to improve your mental health, to positively impact all of the things that you do in life, day to day, start to feel, embrace feelings, accept the feelings, uh, flow through your feelings, give them compassion, um, and develop a sort of a plan that feels right to you, which helps you feel. And the more you do that, the the easier your life becomes. All right, that's our first content video around emotions. I hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe learned a thing or two. Have a nice day, and catch you at the next one.